Hi guys, and welcome to my video. In this video I'm going to be showing you how I did a 5 mask Horrific Visions, that's the word, Orgrimmar run on my BM Hunter with item level 453. Now all of these gear guys is purely from solo content. None of this is from any kind of raid or group activity. As you can see, if you look in the top right corner of my screen, I'm not even in a guild. I've only been playing for about a month or so since I came back to WoW from a long break. Now this is all gear that I've got from either PvP or world quests, and also a few Horrific Vision runs as well. So I'm just showing all my stats there guys, pretty straightforward. My crit is very high, as you can see. I've got quite a good number of rank 3 severe corruptions on there, which I was lucky to buy last week, so that really helped. I actually had a rank 3 tentacle, the Twisted Appendage, which when it procced did insane damage, but I don't know if you guys have used it. It's so unpredictable that it's just not worth using in my opinion, and also the corruption it gives is so high that, you know, those Thing from Beyond, certainly in a Horrific Visions run, they can end it totally just instantly. Very, very difficult. So I actually got rid of it and just put my severe corruptions on there. So just going around putting on obviously all the masks guys. Now I actually ended up clicking a few off, which I didn't even know you could do. If you put them on twice, it actually takes them off, so I'm just going putting them back on. So I wanted to make this video to show you that actually you don't need massive amounts of gear to do a 5 mask clear. Now I know some might say, well look, you're on a BM Hunter, that's easy. Well yes, you know, a BM Hunter, it is a bit easier maybe than other classes, but I think most classes can do this without super high gear. Most of the videos that I've seen, you know, they're with like 470, 475 gear. Well, that's gonna be easy, you know, you're out gearing the content virtually. So you can see here guys, I'm using my Ghastly Goulash food buff. In my opinion, one of the most useful food buffs you can have in the Horrific Visions. Gives you that 2% heal per second, which is really, really very, very good. Really keeps you alive, almost no healing required, certainly on a BM Hunter. But very useful for the Rexxar skip as well, which you'll see me do later on. So obviously just going in there guys, you'll see I'm not using a pet at this point. That's because I'm going to be mounting up, running ahead and feigning death. I don't know about you guys, but certainly my experience with feign death when you've got pets out, it's very variable. Sometimes it will work fine, other times pets will have aggro, and they will keep you in combat, wasting your feign death. Now worst of all in this place, and I've had it happen to me before, you can pull obviously a bunch of mobs because you're not really expecting to fight them, and then the feign death fails and you're suddenly left with a load of mobs that you can't kill and they end your run. Now here I'm just checking out this this potion for some reason on my screen. I don't know why. I never seem to be able to actually see the potion or mouse over it properly without actually physically getting into the hut, which wastes a bit of time, but never mind. So go in there. Obviously you can see my weak auras up there. I have to type into the chat to activate it, that's how it works, but incredibly useful weak auras. If you haven't got weak auras guys, go and get them. They are very, very useful. Useful for lots of stuff. You'll see I have my Thrill of the Hunt weak aura up later on as well, and my other buffs as well, but certainly this weak aura is very, very useful, and I'll link it in the description down below. So here you can see guys, I'm just starting my run now proper. Camed past all of those mobs, very useful as a hunter to be able to do that. You'll see I'm using core hounds guys. Now some people will use other pets, of course. I think any pets are fine really for this. I use core hounds. I like their defensive and I like their ferocity pets for the bloodlust, which you'll see me use later on with Rexxar and Thrall. Now you can see here guys, I really don't do a great run. I'm making loads of mistakes already, and you can see my sanity just dropping and dropping. But it actually really doesn't matter too much because I know that I've got loads of sanity. This guy's going to give me 200 when I kill him, so it really doesn't matter too much. So I'm not too worried about it. I just want to focus on getting the kill. Now really one of the things that I learned with this 5 mask clears is the main thing that you need to do is just be calm, be confident, and know what you are doing. Now that's not easy obviously for a new player to know what's going on. There's a lot going on, but it's not that difficult once you get used to it. know what the mobs do, know what the enemies do, know what their abilities do, know what to interrupt. That is the most important thing. Know what buffs you can get and from where as well. So you see, I actually skipped Gammon at the start, I forgot about him, but this guy gives me a nice 10% crit buff when I get into there finally, and I can click the portal. Now you can't click that in combat, which I didn't know about. This is actually the first time I've clicked this guy. So you need to make sure you're out of combat, otherwise it won't work. Kill him, very easy, quick to kill. You'll see his health just dropping like wildfire. I'm not doing anything special, I'm just killing him. DPS as normal, get him down, and I get a 10% crit buff, which is huge for the whole entire run. 10% is massive, so very, very useful. Otherwise, just chain pulling, chain killing, easy. The appendages are very annoying, but you can see I use my purification protocol as my major essence. Other videos, they talk about using other ones. I know a lot of videos guys use the focusing iris. Now I actually don't have that because I actually haven't done any group content on this character. I've only been a new player for about a month now. I had a long break from World of Warcraft for about 5-6 years actually. I skipped almost 2 entire expansions basically, so I had a long break. So you can see I haven't even actually got a guild if you look in the top right corner there. So this, all my gear is from solo content, nothing special on this character. Now the reason I like Purification Protocol is because of 2 things. It's AoE, it's large damage, I suppose 3 things. It's large damage, and also it will randomly just annihilate creatures. That's right. So if you look at the description, it says Mother will randomly, basically choose to annihilate someone she deems not worthy, something along those lines. Now basically what that means is it just will randomly one-shot a enemy creature. There is no criteria to this, and as far as I know it can work on any creature. Some people report it also working on elite mobs, the bosses, although I've certainly not seen that. I have seen it work on some of the bigger elites though, and certainly all of these mobs in here. So here I am guys, just going through, making sure I'm opening all these doors in the right order, obviously looking at the potions as well. You can see I've grabbed a couple of the black potions there as well. Super important to get those potions for the sanity, but also really important to get them at the right time. I see a lot of people actually wasting them, getting them at the wrong time. They're actually really useful to get them at the right time, to time when to get them. Now this boss, as a BM hunter, I find incredibly easy. The only thing to watch out for really is his Void Torrent. Now a lot of people say that you can just stand in his hitbox and you won't get hit by it. Now I've actually never managed to get that to work. I always seem to get hit by it, whether it's because I'm a Tauren or not, I don't know. But I just run around him, use Aspect of the Cheetah, run around him, zerg him down, get the pet do most of the work. You don't really need to worry about the Call of the Void either. It doesn't really do any damage or sanity on that guy for some reason. Whether that's a bug or not, I don't know, but it's been like that I think for a very long time. So obviously just finishing up this zone, moving on to the next one, and the first boss, mini boss coming up is Misha. Now as a BM hunter, Misha is actually very, very easy. You can pretty much just let your pet solo her if you want to. And actually they'll just do all of the work, but she's actually very, very easy. The little cast thing that she does, you can line of sight it. This is me failing to get that sorted, or you can just sit there and tank it. I've got some resounding protection, the shield that helps me. I think it absorbs about 50k on my character, so that certainly helps. You can see I really don't take any damage. So you can see here guys, just carrying on DPSing down Misha, still failing to line of sight that effectively. I'm not sure why I'm still really bothering. You'll have to excuse the editing here, I accidentally alt-tabbed, so it skips a tiny bit. But you can see there, all of a sudden, everything just went a bit wrong. All these sanity things happened at once. You can see how that can clearly make a big mess of things. So this guys is why I do this run, this method first, this route. Because I like to get to Rexar early, because then I can use my Bloodlust. Now you can go all the way through and kill all these mobs, but it's very slow. I actually like to do this trick where you just run up the side here. Now you need to be really careful because you take a lot of damage, and this is where that Ghastly Goulash is really useful. Now you can see here as well guys, I'm waiting for that split personality. You do not want a split personality popping on you when you're running up here. It will kill you for sure. Now you can see me taking all that damage. That's a lot of damage I'm taking, but this is where having a health stone, pre-potion, a potion, pre-defensive cooldown, anything like that to reduce that damage is really useful. It doesn't put you in combat, so of course you can just pop a heal or a defensive cooldown and then mount up straight away again halfway through. I do recommend, if you haven't done that before, you do practice, because it can go very, very badly very easily and end your run very, very quickly. But it's far, far quicker. Now here you can see I'm just waiting for my gifts to come off cooldown, because you really want that for Rexxar and those puppies. Those hounds do, the boars do a hell of a lot of sanity damage. Now some people say you can just nuke down Rexxar, you know, waste that resurrection. I don't like to do that, because that sanity damage is huge. My gear isn't really good enough to really do that convincingly, you know, every time. So I prefer to just get these down one by one if I can. Make sure you interrupt those void quills. As you can see, guys, already on the floor, one hound, you know, barely into the fight. There's just stuff all over the floor. Rexxar is a really tough boss to fight. Here you can see I didn't even realise my pets weren't even on assist, they were just on passive. Did half the run without the pets even on the right settings. Which you can see, just, you know, you don't have to go crazy and do crazy stuff. Here you can see there, guys, my sanity damage is just stacking like crazy, and of course that guy turns up, as he always does. Now I actually get a gift proc there, and I just go balls to the walls, pop my bloodlust and just nuke him down. And I managed to kill him without using my resurrection, which is really, really useful to have that for Thrall, just in case. So you can see here, guys, obviously just finishing up with Rexxar. Make sure you don't get hit by any of those little Shah monsters. They can do a real number on you as well. This guy as well does a real number on your pets. He does crazy damage. So make sure you are healing your pets on cooldown. If your pets die, that can end your run, so do make sure you heal your pets. By the way, guys, just ignore the activate windows in the corner there. I'm just on a trial license at the moment, because I'm still setting up my computer. You can see there, guys, I actually just sat there and waited and just face tanked all those scarabs, because you really don't want to run into that split personality, especially when you've got mobs on you, because that can end your run very, very quickly. So just take your time, kill the enemies, and it's not too difficult. You can see I run straight into it and take that sanity damage. Now, I don't know about you guys as well, but whenever I get Haunting Shadows and Split Personality at the same time, they almost always seem to come at the same time, which can be a very, very bad combination, because you can get feared straight into your Split Personality. So you really need to be very careful. Now you can see here, guys, I'm just jumping straight back to the start. I'm going to pop a kebab in a moment as well, because my sanity is just dropping a little bit. I try and save the kebabs for when I really need them. With a rank 15 clerk, I really don't need them that much anymore. And they are a bit expensive on my server, but it's useful to have, just so you can get that sanity back up a little bit. As you can see again, guys, just storming through. I've actually got the haste buff this time, not the debuff, so I'm super quick. Straight through, feign death, onto the next slot. Now you might think at this point, I've got 200 sanity, why am I not using an orb? Well, because I know with my Titanic research that this guy's going to give me 200 sanity, which is really useful. You can see there again, Purification Protocol annihilated that guy. It's such a useful essence for Horrific 5 masks, because that annihilate is just so useful. Supposedly it can one-shot bosses, certainly elites. I've seen it do elites, but not bosses, so I don't know, take that one with a pinch of salt. And yeah, I'm just going through, just being methodical, going through, killing one by one, and just getting the run done, basically. It's all about knowing what spells these enemies use, what you can avoid, what you can stand in, what you need to do, but most importantly is managing your sanities. Now here I actually want to talk about the buffs as well. You can see my damage resist is actually running out soon, and you'll see me click it off soon. When they end, they can actually give you a nasty debuff, so you have to watch out for those as well. You can see here I just wait, because you really do not want to be running into those sanity effects. Here I actually get hit with the fear. When I'm actually clicking off that debuff, actually times at the same time, so it actually stuns me when I clicked off the debuff. You do not want those debuffs ending when you're in a boss fight or a pack of mobs, because that can, again, it can end your run. If you get feared and you pull another group of mobs, that can just be disastrous. So you really want to watch those buffs as well, guys, from those potions. And if you can, just click as many potions as you can. If it's running out, get another one, because it actually extends your timer up to 15 minutes, which is really, really useful. So you can see here, guys, I've got the gift up. I'm just going down on these appendages. I really want to get them down. You know, use my purification protocol. Again, annihilated. Great job done. That's one appendage down, two appendage down. Finish it off. Actually did a mispull there, but it works out fine. So you can see, guys, you don't need to be that worried about 5 mask runs. You don't need to have a perfect run. I make so many mistakes in this run, but you'll see by the end of it, I actually finish it very, very easily with a whole orb left over. Which, if you'd have told me, you know, before I started doing them, that you could do it without even using a you know, you'd have an orb left, I would have laughed at you. So here I'm thinking, okay, do I actually pull the boss, keep my thread of the hunt up, or do I just wait? And then, of course, this guy turns up to ruin the day. So I end up killing him using an orb. The last thing you want to do, guys, is rush, and then you certainly don't want to be wasting a resurrection on a mini boss, because you really want those for the big guys if you can. So, you know, I use an orb and just make sure I kill him down. This guy is actually super easy as a BM hunter. Your pets can basically tank him. I've never had this guy do his punch attack on me as a ranged class. So super easy, just let your pets tank him, just zerg him down, job done, everyone's happy. Now you'll see there, guys, there's actually a black liquid there, black potion, but I've got a full sanity bar. So I'm not going to go and drink you know, a sanity potion and waste it. So I actually leave that for later, because I know after this boss in this zone that I'm going to need that sanity. So I actually leave that till later, which is a good trick that you can do. You know, you don't want to waste them. So here again, I just send my pets in first because my misdirect's on cooldown, but I don't need to wait. Now that was actually an error there, I interrupted the wrong thing. So you'll see I actually get hit with the touch of the abyss in a moment. But purification protocol again, helps me out, one-shots him. Now I could have used the Drainic potion there, but I wasn't standing in anything, so it didn't actually matter. And my pets were just killing the mobs, so it was fine. Get this guy down. See again, guys, split personality and the haunting shadows almost always comes at the same time. Very, very annoying, very difficult if it comes on a boss or a big pack of mobs. Get these guys down. Now this boss coming up, this mini boss, he is actually pretty tough. Now you can see there, guys, I actually had a gift of the Titans up, but I actually wasn't immune to the haunting shadows. Everyone says that it makes you immune to everything. It really doesn't, so you do need to still be careful. This guy can be very difficult because he just puts his crap all over the floor, and that can, you know, you can lose an absolute ton of sanity to it, especially with split personality. So you do just need to try and keep as mobile as you can, get out of those split personalities. I actually missed that chest on the left there. And just get him down. Now this boss, I actually really dislike this boss. He can be very, very tough. He spawns ads. He has a lot of sanity effects. That defiled you know, ground is very, very tough. You'll see me try and run through these orbs in a moment and fail. Look at that sanity damage, minus 60. That's a big chunk at this, at this level. So you really want to be careful, you know, where you're standing on this guy. I try and stand in his hitbox because then you can ignore the Ring of Chaos, but then there's just so much crap on the ground, it's very tough. You can see there I actually got feared into an orb, into his beam, onto the Defile ground, and I just took an absolute ton of sanity damage. Again, I get a gift proc, Gifts of the Titans, but I get, again, feared. I get disorientated, so it does not make you immune. But thankfully, it helps me out. I get him down, and I go back up for the potion that I skipped. So, you know, 5 mask clears, they're all about taking your time, being methodical, being sensible. I've seen clears where people have got, you know, 470, 475, you know, gear, and they're just pulling the whole zone and just AoEing them down. Well, that's great if you can do that, but, you know, the vast majority of players can't do that, and you're better off just being methodical, taking your time. Now, you'll actually see I skipped that totem there, because I don't want to go back to the start. I actually want to go to the next zone. But I'll grab a Fire Breath on the way, why not? Now that bit you'll actually see, I actually tried to wait, because I didn't think I could make it through around the side. But then of course the Haunting Shadows decides to appear underneath me. And so I had to try it, and actually I can manage to get through, so that was okay. Now this area is actually pretty easy again as a hunter. Some classes might struggle a little bit. Interrupt what you can. Those mental assaults can really stack up in damage. And of course the Void Elementals, their Void Buffet buffs the shadow damage you take, usually paired with something that does the shadow damage. Now you'll see guys in this zone I actually use the Scorched Feet to my advantage a lot of the time. A lot of videos I've seen talk about the Scorched Feet, you know, like you have to keep moving. You actually really don't. The Scorched Feet only affects you if you are moving. Now you'll actually see at times in here I actually just stand still. I think it's coming up now. I actually just jump to get rid of the bugs, the entomophobia. But otherwise, you can see I'm just jumping up and down. Nothing's actually happening with the Scorched Feet until I move. So I make sure I line myself up so I don't get thrown off the deck there. There's me just pointing out those crystals that you can go for. I actually don't bother in this run. I just want to make sure I get the run done. But you can see actually the Scorched Feet, if you just stand still, it doesn't actually affect you. So again, the key thing is not to panic, not to go crazy. Know what the effects things do, and you can also use them to your advantage sometimes to jump over void zones. Which I certainly have done. I'm not sure if I do in this video or not. But otherwise it's about control guys. You don't want to rush too much. Now again, that guy always turns up when you don't want him, but he's actually very easy to kill. That Horrific Figment, very easy to kill. Now you can see here guys, I get stuck on stuff. Now I don't know if that's just me being a bad player or if it's the Tauren hitbox. For some reason I just seem to get stuck on stuff a lot of the time. The other thing that happens a lot is when I'm mounted I struggle to see the potions. My camera just zooms in massively, and I don't know if that's a Tauren thing or just my computer thing. So often you'll see I'll actually dismount to get potions. Now these guys, sometimes people skip them. I do sometimes skip them if I'm doing lower clear runs. I actually like to kill them though, because really the last thing you want is new mobs turning up when you're trying to fight this little boss. Especially with his waves and his hopelessness, who can spawn away from you. If you get a little figment spawning, then that can actually end up pulling them, and really the last thing you guys want is when you're doing a 5-man run, there you go, see Figment spawns when you don't want him, is to have extra mobs being pulled into the boss, especially if you've got the hopelessness, you can't actually do anything to them. They can end your run pretty quickly as well, or force you to use the res that you really don't want to use. So best just to kill them, I think. This boss pretty straightforward. I've seen people talk about, you know, stand on the mailbox, stand on the tent or whatever, because then the orbs, the hopelessness orbs spawn underneath you. Now I've not had that happen to me. I tried it, they spawned all over the place. I actually found it more difficult, so I just don't bother anymore. So you can see this guy's going down super easy. You know, my DPS on that fight, 55k, it's good, certainly not crazy. You know, I can hit a much higher DPS. And then it's gear carrying me through a little bit, I know. But you don't need super crazy high DPS either. Now at this point I'm actually just going looking for potions and crystals and things, because I've actually got a ton of sanity, and you know, just didn't need to rush basically. And you'll actually find I'm about to go off and search for some buffs anyway. So there's a guy here in the start zone that actually gives you a buff if you kill him, like the buff in the other zone there. It's Gammon in this zone on this run. Now I actually forget which buildings are he's in, so I actually go through a load of buildings, so just ignore that, because I haven't done that many runs, so I'm still, you know, forgetting where things are. Now here you'll see me actually open the chest with the camo guys. You can actually open chests in stealth, I presume, and you can get the potions as well. I presume that rogues are the same, and I don't know about mages with their invisibility, but certainly you know, hunters, and I presume rogues are the same. You can actually run across your void zones as well. You'll take sanity damage, but it won't actually de-stealth you. Check. Check 2. So you can see me getting the potion here in the camo. Again, that does not de-stealth you, so you can get that as well. So at this point I'm just wondering, you know, what should I do? Should I just get some more potions? Should I look for some crystals? Should I get the buffs? I've got obviously a little sanity. First thing to do is clear out these guys. Last thing you want to do is try and kill some more stuff, get some more buffs, get some more potions, and then you realise you haven't killed these guys, and then they take a chunk of your sanity out because you're rushing. So I like to clear them where I can. Make sure you clear that horrifying shout, as you saw there again, purification protocol doing its thing and just annihilating one of them, which is always super helpful. So I'm just clearing mobs, getting some mementos, just thinking, hey, you know what, I've got loads of sanity, I've got loads of time, I'm not in a rush, I'll just clear. Now I actually forget where the buff guys are, the NPCs, because I actually haven't done that many horrific visions, so I still haven't really got it down exactly where everything is. So I actually end up going in all these huts where I don't really need to. I just need to go straight across from where I am now, but of course I didn't really know that. These shamans are annoying because they drop the totems, so make sure you kill those guys first. There you can see the totem. Make sure you get in those promised powers, very useful. So I just go around killing some more stuff guys here, so you know, you can see how the runs are really not that difficult, even without amazing gear. Now I know you're probably thinking, well, you know, item 454, 453, that's pretty high level, you know, I've got some horrific visions gear, I've got good corruptions. Yes, that is true. You know, I'm not going in here with a green geared, you know, fresh level 120, but you know what, like, it's all solo gear, there's nothing hard here. I've only been playing this character for, you know, a couple of weeks, and you know, there's really nothing too fancy on my character. There's some corruptions of course which you can buy. I bought the rank 3 severe corruptions with critical strike, which is very useful for a hunter. I got lucky, they were on the vendor, so I managed to pick them up. So just killed Gammon there, got the great buff from him, and I'm thinking, okay, do I just go for Thrall now with my gift up, or do I wait? I think I decided to just go for it, pop an orb, get those voids down, get those void boars down, nuke them down. You'll see me pop a bloodlust in a moment. I actually forget to use my bestial wrath or a gift of the wild, of course, because you know, I'm just a terrible hunter. And I'm really just soaking up the sanity loss there because I'm standing in the orb, so it's not doing anything, which is a great benefit of using the orb and then pulling. So I'm thinking at this point, okay, I've got Thrall, I've got the the resurrection still, I'm on full sanity, this is really a surefire thing now. Thrall really isn't that difficult, you just need to avoid standing in the bad stuff, make sure you stand in the good stuff where you can if you've got purifying power, and really just make sure you do not get hit by that defiled ground. It's very, very dangerous. You do still need to watch out for things though. You'll see in a moment a horrific fragment appears. Now this guy's Call of the Void actually does quite a bit of damage on me there, but you can see that heal from the Ghastly Goulash is really helpful there. So I take a chunk of sanity damage there because I got hit by that defiled ground. So it really can still hurt, and if you're careless then you can lose even at this point. So it's really useful to just make sure that you're just being careful, being methodical, don't do anything crazy. Even if the boss is almost dead, just still play the way that you should play, and then you won't lose the fight. Very straightforward. You'll actually see in a moment the horrific fragment comes out, and I actually do trap him. You can CC them, they do still just keep following you though, and I have had runs where I've actually tried to CC 2 or 3 on Thrall because I thought better to kill the boss, and actually they ended up overwhelming me, believe it or not. So it's actually easier just to kill them, unless the boss is literally on like 1%, like Thrall is here, basically 2%. So you're better off just killing them because they die very, very quickly. And there you have it guys, a full 5 mask Horrific Visions Orgimmar clear on a BM Hunter level 453, and the loot I get from this is a 450 item because I've already done a few runs this week, 4 masks and 5 masks, so I've got the gear from those. So it actually ended up being a slight upgrade anyway because it was crit gear, which is always nice, and a slightly higher item level. So hopefully you guys can see that you really don't need fantastic gear. You just need a reasonable level of gear. Yes, you're not going to do it in greens, but you don't need amazing gear, and actually it can be quite nice upgrades. And I don't know about you, but I enjoy the challenge. It was quite challenging doing this by myself, learning how to do it, and you can see there my gear is not amazing. The one thing that is really super important though is that rank 15 cloak. Now you could probably do it with a lower cloak, but you would need much higher gear level. That rank 15 cloak does make a huge difference. So all in all guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will be putting up some more videos. I'm just making this new channel for just messing around on these games. So do check out my other videos if you're interested in seeing more, mainly from World of Warcraft, but there might be some other games as well. Then do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification.